All right, let's get started here. I'm glad to join you guys again. You may have heard me present last week, and I'm glad to be on the mic again here. My name is Blair Nordstrom. I'm the product marketing strategist for the platform division at Vendasta. And this is our weekly webinar on how to implement order management. And we're going to go really in depth into how to use order management, why it's so important, and some steps, some key takeaways that you can bring back to your team in order to implement it. So just a reminder to please feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar, and then I'll address them at the end of the webinar. All right, so let's get started. So first I'm going to walk you through the process of how agencies and media companies typically go through when they get digital solutions or want to get digital solutions into the hands of their clients. So just take you on a little journey here. So the way the whole process works is it starts when a salesperson sells a package to a local business owner. And let's say they sold the digital advertising package. And now the salesperson needs a partner center admin in order to activate that package, right? And so that person gathers the contract details and composes a detailed email in Gmail or Outlook. They take it outside the platform and then they fire it off to the admin. So that takes a lot of time to build up that email. But let's say, for example, they forgot some of the key information. So the admin receives that email and they go to activate the package and they copy and paste all the information into the details. Maybe it's an order form for the advertising product. But they soon realize that the salesperson missed the campaign start date, for example. And so then the admin calls the salesperson back and says like, hey man, I need that start date. But the salesperson is busy selling, so it actually goes to their voicemail. So you can already see there's some back and forth here. And now once the salesperson has a spare minute, once they're done with their call or their on-site presentation, they send a text or a Slack message back to the partner center admin to provide any missing details that they need to. And then the partner center admin is then finally able to actually activate that package. But then the salesperson still needs to know that it was successfully activated and that their clients are getting taken care of. So the admin then sends an email back to the salesperson or an in-person visit or a phone call or what have you, and just to confirm that everything actually went through. And so as you can see throughout this whole process, it's quite time consuming. Both the salesperson and the admin are actually losing time when they're copying and pasting all that information. And because there's so much back and forth with all of that, they could either enter the information improperly or they could miss something altogether. And then all that information is scattered across multiple apps and services, which makes it difficult to come back to later. And even when the admin is the salesperson, and in some cases with some of our partners, you may have the salesperson is the admin, it still is time consuming taking that information from Sales and Success Center, copying and pasting it over into Partner Center, and then that data is still not technically stored in a single place. Like you have some of that information in Sales and Success Center and some in Partner Center, and there's no quick link between the two. So that's why we've introduced order management, which streamlines the post-sale communication between salespeople and admins. So what is an order? An order is a document that a salesperson submits after closing a deal to communicate contract details to admins and request product activation. Now we're going to take a look at how streamlined the process is when you have order management at an agency or a media company. And so we'll go through the same process of, the salesperson sells an advertising package to a local business. Well, then the salesperson now, instead of sending a separate email outside the platform, they just submit an order that outlines the contract information. It includes the start date, the packages, and the pricing. And then all of the required details for that advertising package, for example, are included in the form. So whatever products require additional details, they're automatically included right within that form for the salesperson to include. And so, for example, for advertising, it might be top keywords, campaign start dates, and key contact information. So they know they're collecting all of the information that is required to activate that product. Now, as soon as they submit that order, the salesperson gets an automated confirmation email that their order was submitted successfully. So they at least know that their order was communicated to the admins. Now, the admin also receives an automated email alert and is able to review that order then. The email alert takes them right into the order where they can see all of the details that the salesperson provided. And let's say, once again, because the order includes an entire form that outlines all of the information that you need, the salesperson in this case has now provided all of the key details and everything looks normal. So the admin then approves the order. And so then the salesperson receives an automated email alert once again that their order was approved, and they know that their job is done. They know that they have submitted an accurate and complete order. Then the admin proceeds to activate the products from the same place that they approved the order. So they don't need to move into another tab. They don't need to go across apps or anything. Right within that order, they can then activate the product. So they'll be able to activate all the products within that package for that particular account. And finally, the salesperson receives another automated email so that they know that their client has been taken care of. They know that their client finally has all of their products that they're looking for. And so as you can see there, order management actually eliminates the need for external tools when communicating closed sales. It bridges the gap between Sales and Success Center and Partner Center. And because all of this communication is automated, all of those emails, instead of copying and pasting, all of that stuff is automated. So it's saving time for both salespeople and admins. And it also minimizes the chances of human error, missing something while you're copying and pasting it or putting in the wrong spot or whatever. And plus, all of that information is stored in one place, the Orders tab in Partner Center, for reference at a later time. All right, so now I'm going to give you about a 5-minute walkthrough of how to create and manage orders. And then we're going to finish up with some takeaways that you can bring back to your team so that you can implement order management for your organization. And so I'm going to take you over into Sales and Success Center here. All right, and so right now I'm in Sales and Success Center. I'm right on the Accounts tab where you manage all of your accounts. And so let's dive into an account and let's see how we can create an order. So once again, this is actually already available for general release. And so that means that all partners currently have access to this functionality. All right, so to create an order, so for example, if you're not using opportunities, you can actually create an order directly from the Accounts tab right here. Now, on the other hand, what we do actually recommend is to use it with opportunities. So we'll click through into an opportunity. And the reason why we recommend creating it through an opportunity is that it really helps save time as you're entering that information. So we're in an opportunity right now, and I'll show you an example of what I mean in a second here. So we're in an opportunity. We click Create Order. Now within here, it asks for all of the contract information you need in order to activate the products for that account. So let's say the contract start date is June 1st for this particular account. And they're looking at the advertising package. That's the opportunity that we've selected here. And if there are other opportunities on the account, those will also appear right within there. And as you can see, because we created this order straight from an opportunity, it's automatically populated the packages and the pricing. Now, it's important to note that these packages that appear here are the packages that you've added to your store. So the only way that your salesperson is going to see this list of options is if you've added a package of products into your store. So that's really important to know. Now, if you create it through the other workflow that I showed you earlier, where you could just create it straight from the Accounts tab, you can come in here and you can just select one of the packages. Or as you can see again, it does automatically populate it, and you can add additional packages to that order if you choose. They can feel free to adjust the pricing, and once again, the admin will have the ability to review that pricing a little bit later on. And then finally, there are some notes for the administrator. So that allows you, like, you can collect whatever information you want from your salespeople, right? If you tell them, okay, we need to know this particular detail about the business owner, or we need to know this particular piece of information for the advertising package, they can provide that information in the notes. Or maybe, for example, they gave a really low price and they need to give some sort of explanation, and then it's been approved by someone else already. You can provide all sorts of different notes there. Anyway, so we continue on to the second step of creating the order. And as you can see here, it actually allows you to enter all of the information required to activate that product. And so I'm going to scroll through this list here just quickly and show you some examples. So let's say for this digital ads, calls, leads, and store visits, we get to select, okay, it's in the US currency. We're going to go with the starter package. Let's say the minimum dollar amount, we're going to put $200. And the desired start for this campaign, well, we're going to start that June 1st. Monthly retail price, let's say $300 for that. All right, so those are a few examples. As you can see, many of these fields are optional, and it's up to you too whether you want to require those fields from your salespeople or if you want to keep them optional. And then, of course, sometimes the forms do actually have required fields where they are unable to submit it unless they fill in those fields. All right, so now they submit the order. And so I'm going to head over to the inbox now, and we're just going to wait a couple seconds here. It should be pretty quick to get the two emails. So, all right, so that's the admin email, but first we're going to see this one. So this is the confirmation email that the salesperson receives. It says your order is now processing. You'll receive a follow-up email once the packages are approved. So the salesperson is kept in the loop. Now, at the same time, your admin, any admins that receive order management notifications will also receive this notification right here. And this notification right here basically says that your salesperson has placed a new order. You want to review and activate any of those products to ensure timely delivery to the clients. And so this email takes you directly into the order. And so now we're in the Orders tab of Partner Center. And once again, because we're in the email and we clicked that button, it took us right to that specific order. And so now we're going to see all of the information that the salesperson had provided, the contract start date, when it was submitted, what package, you can see what kind of products are included within that package, and so on. Then the admin also has the ability to review some of this information, right? So now we can see this is the information that we provided, that the salesperson provided in Sales and Success Center. We see the currency and the package and the pricing and the desired start date and so on. So once again, they would fill in all of that information. You would be able to see all of it right here, and it's stored right within the order. And so that way, like whether your fulfillment teams are taking this information somewhere else, you have it all in one place where they can grab it. All right, so let's say, for example, the salesperson missed some information. So let's say, for example, the how long this campaign should run for is actually a required field for your agency. Well, the admin can actually decline that order and then provide a message and say, hey, we need that campaign length in order to activate this product. Please provide that. And then you can click decline, and it'll actually send another email back to the salesperson saying this has been declined and your admin has included this message. But in this case, let's say they provided all the information that's required. So we click approve. Then we click approve and continue, and it takes us to the second step. Now I'm just going to take you back to the inbox to show you an example of what the email looks like to your salesperson once you've approved the order. All right, so this is the second email that the salesperson receives, and it says that it's now processing, and you'll receive a follow-up email once it's activated. So they at least know now that it's been approved and that they've done their job, and they can continue working on other things. They have yet to receive another email once those products have been activated. So let's go back to Partner Center here. I'm going to go back to that particular order. And another use case for this, so it takes us in the second screen, and in this second screen you have the ability to edit some of the information. So we can go down a little bit further in the form and we can see, okay, now we can actually change the start date. Maybe the person comes in and the admin decides to set the start date to a later month, for example. They're able to do that. And so the use case for this is, let's say you need the order to be approved right away. The salesperson submits the order today. The admin needs to approve the order today so that the salesperson knows they've done their job. And let's say then that the contract start date is June 1st. Well, then you can have either the same admin or a different admin come in on June 1st and review this information and then activate the products at that time. So it does give you an opportunity to either split up those tasks or complete these different actions at different times. So once again, one is to review it and let your salespeople know that they've completed their job. This second step is mainly to make sure that you have all the information, you can edit whatever you need, and then activate the products. And so at the very bottom here, you'll just say, I understand that I'll be billed for activated products, and then you click activated products. Oh, but of course, all of this information is actually required by the particular app, so we're going to enter in some of that information here. All right, sorry about this, folks. I picked a rather long form to submit as a demo here, so I'm not going to continue filling out the rest of this form just for the sake of your time. But once you click activate products, it is in fact going to activate the products directly from here. And I want to show you here then what it looks like once they've activated the order. So I'm just going to go find an order for that. Okay, it looks like I don't have an email for that, or sorry, here we go. Here's an example of an email that once the product has been activated. So now it says, this order for this location at this address is now active. And so then your salesperson now has that confirmation that their clients have been taken care of. All right, so sorry about that, folks. I once again had too long of a form there, but that kind of covers the whole process from start to finish. It's actually quite simple. The salesperson, from an opportunity or directly from an account, is able to create that order, provide all of the details in the form, submit that order. Everyone is kept informed throughout the entire process, and at the end of it, the salesperson knows that the client has been taken care of, and there's no communication loss between that. There's no improperly entered details or missed information. Now, let's talk about some key takeaways that you can bring back to your team, and you'll need to, for these particular key takeaways, you'll need to decide who is responsible for what. So first, who enters which order details? So will your salespeople be responsible for providing all of the information, or will they just provide some of it and then your admins fill in the rest? So even in this example that I had where I submitted just a few of the fields for that particular product, and then on the admin side, you saw that I could continue to add those fields in that second step. You could do that same thing for your agency. Now, most organizations would require the salesperson to enter all of the information, but maybe they don't have the answers to everything. Maybe they don't have the particular details or the particular knowledge that they need in order to submit everything. So that's really up to your organization, whether it's your salesperson or your admin filling in everything. Next, you need to know who approves and declines the orders. So is there going to be a specific person in charge of approving and declining orders? Is there someone who does that for you? And if your salesperson has access to Partner Center, you could put them in charge of activating their own orders once you've given the approval. So maybe, for example, they submit the order from Sales and Success Center. You as a partner center admin goes in and approves it. And once they receive that approval email, they can feel free to go into partner center and then activate the order. And so you have that flexibility of implementing it however you'd like. And then finally, who activates the products? So is it going to be the same person who approves that order, or is it going to be someone else? And for this case, most agencies would just have one person do both the approving and activating. But if you have a larger, more structured organization with some more red tape, for example, or whatever, you might assign these tasks to different people. And of course, you're going to need to get your sales team on board. This is probably going to be one of the biggest tasks to do to get order management launched. And they're not huge tasks by any means, but here's some of the things that they're going to need to know. So first, how to create and close opportunities. Now, this isn't required in order to create an order, but it does make things easier because not only do orders allow you to prioritize the prospects so that they can focus on the prospects that are more likely to buy, but they also allow your salespeople to submit the orders faster because, as we saw in that demo, it automatically populates the details like the packages and the pricing. Now, your salespeople will need to know how to create an order, a lot of what we just went through today, which they can do, once again, from within an opportunity or from an account if you don't use opportunities at all. Now, point number 4, they'll also need to know kind of what details are expected from them. This kind of ties into the stuff I was talking about on the previous slide, where like, should they fill in all of the fields? They need to know whether they're expected to fill in all the fields or not. Or do you want them to provide specific details in the notes section? Is there specific information that your agency or media company needs to know for every single order? And you can include that and make sure your salespeople are aware. And finally, they're going to need to know your unique process. Like, what happens after they submit an order? So you need to make sure that they understand they'll receive an email that explains whether the order was approved or declined and that a package has been activated. And they'll at least be able to understand, okay, once they've hit submit, here's everything that's going to be going on behind the scenes until they know that they've been taking care of their clients. And so that's going to require a little bit of training there. All right, and that brings us to the end of the session. And so now I'll be glad to go through some of the questions here. I'm just going to pull up some of the questions, and feel free to ask some questions. If you have anything on your mind right now, I'm going to go through them right now. So one of the questions is, does it also capture billing information? And not at this time. It is going to capture all of the information you need. And I mean, you do have the option if you choose to capture billing information directly within the notes. Or, for example, some of the product-specific information might ask about billing specific information, but there's no kind of like common billing information across every single order option for that. So. One of the questions is, can we use this for our internal use when not using agency fulfillment? So that you don't require any concierge or anything else. You don't need to use fully managed services in order to use order management. If your salespeople are using Sales and Success Center and you have people, admins running Partner Center, this is a great way to communicate between apps. So there's no real requirement of having an agency doing do-it-for-me services for your clients. This will work for any agency or media company that is using both Sales and Success Center and Partner Center. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions here. I see, Ryan, I'll get back to you on that question. I'll send you a detailed message after this with the specific answer to that. Are there any other questions all about order management? All right, it looks like we have no more questions. If you do have any questions at a later time, please feel free to contact your partner success manager and they'll be glad to help you with that, or at least dive into the information and get you that information. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time. I'm glad to be on the mic once again. I hope you all have a wonderful day and keep enjoying your wonderful weather, unless it's rainy out in Tulsa. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a great day.